Hey everybody, it's Jimmy aka Zero Tolerance 55, and today I'm bringing you part 3 in the BioShock storyline entitled The Fall of Rapture. In context of the games, this video takes place during the BioShock 2 multiplayer and just prior to BioShock 1. If you haven't watched part 1 or 2, you can watch them here and here because if you haven't, you might get really lost very easily and you might not have any clue what I'm talking about. But I'm going to assume you've watched those and you're picking up right where you left off, so at this point I'm just going to jump right in and lay it all out. All right, when we last left off, the war had broken out in Rapture. Well, all throughout 1959, a full-scale war took place in the city, all following the events that sparked on that previous New Year's. The population was split into two opposing sides, the army of Andrew Ryan and the army of Atlas. Ryan saw this opportunity to release more advanced plasmids and tonics to the public through Augustus Sinclair's business, Sinclair Solutions. Also during this time, the Big Daddy program underwent a tremendous overhaul under Dr. Gilbert Alexander's influence. Remember, he had picked up where Dr. Suchong had left off and was really moving the Big Daddy program forward. From the beginning of the war, Andrew Ryan labeled Atlas as a parasite and an enemy of Rapture in an attempt to turn people against him. Then, as the final tests of the alpha versions of the Big Daddy were completed, Ryan decided to release the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters into public to collect Adam from corpses on the street. Following their initial release, there were many problems were reported with the Big Daddies in the press. People were worried that they were too aggressive. The thing is, Ryan knew this because he remembered Dr. Suchong's death at the hands of a prototype Big Daddy. He used it to his advantage because the Big Daddies didn't always stop the splicers from getting a hold of the girls and their Adam. The reason he used this to his advantage was he was able to label Atlas and his followers as child killers to the press and turn people against him. Well, anyway, as the conflict escalated, bad side effects of Adam began showing up within the population. A good example is Dr. J.S. Steinman. He was a well known surgeon, very good at what he did, but he became addicted to Adam and it started degenerating his DNA to the point where he committed acts of atrocity during his operations. Well, using this information, Atlas took it and spun it to the public, saying there was a shortage of Adam and all this kind of stuff to fuel hysteria and turn people against Ryan. Well, during the same time, Bridget Tenenbaum, who had Vantage after renouncing the Little Sister program, began to abduct the little girls in an effort to save them. Ryan took note of this, and in an effort to discredit her and turn people against her, he released the information about her previous life on the surface, which hadn't been known to the public at this time. And when it came out that she was a doctor at one of the concentration camps during World War II, people turned against her and wanted nothing to do with her. More and more of Rapture's districts began to be affected by this war. Apollo Square was used by Ryan's authorities as a concentration camp to contain his adversaries, while Persephone Penal Colony was still under Sophia Lamb's control and cut off from the rest of the city. Arcadia was forced to close because of incidents involving an Adam addictive nature cult called the Saturnine. And Rapture's famous artist Sandra Cohen, which is a fan favorite of the games, was finally forced to close Fort Frolic, even though he promised people a final frolic. The list goes on and on of all these different areas affected. The Memorial Museum located in Point Prometheus was closed to the public and converted into the proving grounds to train new Big Daddies. And even the peaceful Dionysus Park was flooded during the war by former Rapture Tribune reporter Stanley Poole in an attempt to hide his treachery from Sophia Lamb's followers, which you might remember Stanley Poole was the undercover agent within their followers. And Siren Alley was the area where people would go to when they were unemployed. It was, really low class, and it was turned into the city's red light district. Violence in the city continued to escalate as the city continued to deteriorate around them, and even the press began to turn on Andrew Ryan. An editor of the Rapture Standard, which was the newspaper, spoke out against Andrew Ryan and eventually was hung in public because he was accused of being a spy for Atlas. During this time, splicers became more and more organized, and Ryan's only response to that was to make elite versions of the Big Daddies, more adapted to fight rather than protect. And he asked McClendon Robotics for deadly new versions of the security robots and turrets to be placed around Rapture to be activated whenever Ryan felt like it. Rapture Central Computing was also commissioned to design a new model of protector called the Lancer, intended to use a new type of laser weaponry called the ion laser. These bots and protectors were ultimately never used in the war because they were in a part of the city known as Minerva's Den, which was cut off from the rest of the city by a man named Reed Wall. But that will come into play later when I'm going over the BioShock 2 storyline. During the end of this era, which was known, like I said, as the Fall of Rapture, Andrew Ryan began seeking solutions in seclusion. And by that I mean he held himself up in Rapture Central Control in Hephaestus and attempted to maintain control over the city by enacting harsher laws, limiting the movement of the population, and also shutting down the bathysphere network that people used to move from area to area in the city. One thing he also did that incited people against him was he enacted the death penalty for anyone who broke these laws. Eventually, even the newspapers were forced to cease publication as Ryan instituted Security Order 217. He felt as if the newspapers were beginning to turn against him, and in order to snuff it out, got rid of the newspapers altogether. However, even though Ryan kept adding all more laws and restrictions on the citizens, public disorder continued to escalate. In an act of desperation, Ryan violated the greatest virtue he held dear, which was that of free will. He introduced a type of pheromone into the air which he could slightly control the minds of people who had Adam in their system. Ryan had completed his descent into what he did not want to be. And once he had complete control over the city, Atlas went into hiding like all the few remaining sane citizens, and the insane splicers roamed the streets of Rapture unchecked. And it's here I'm going to stop with the Fall of Rapture, because the next one, as you know, is BioShock 1. So that's the first game, so everyone's been waiting for it. It will be out very soon. As always, thank you guys for watching my video. I appreciate every view, like, and subscriber I get. So if you enjoyed it, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to me, because I have a lot more videos coming out. If you want to leave some feedback of what you thought, or even just give me ideas for new videos, you can leave them in the comment section below, because I'm constantly checking it, constantly, seeing what people are saying. And I also do the same thing on Twitter. You can find me at SWTOR55. It's a great way to keep up to date on what I'm working on, and also to contact me, say, hey, I think you should do this video or whatever. I also use Instagram for the same purpose, mainly to post like production photos of what I'm working on as little sneak peeks of what's coming up, so you can follow me on there as ZeroTolerance55 as well. As you can tell, I have a bunch of friends who also make videos. Go ahead and give all their channels a check out if you get the chance, because they all do everything from gameplays to music videos. So give them a chance if you have some free time. Thank you guys for watching my video, and I will catch you later.